do you do with the rock that you paid for? I mean, it's been in there for 5 years, so it's not like it hasn't, I was going to say paid for itself. Rocks don't do anything. They sit there and hum. So, I don't know. But anyway, driftwood I tend to, that runs for about 2 years, and then I'll take it out and replace it with another piece of driftwood because it's just a good idea. It keeps the tank cleaner. Anyway, how's the tea doing? Oh. Tea is a little on the cold side, but it's 10 o'clock, so that's an hour and a half's worth of tea. That's not too bad. And it's all gone for a change. Sometimes I just forget all about it and then don't drink it for an entire session. Gets to the end and it's like, yeah, no, not a fan of iced tea or room temperature tea. I like my tea hot with no milk and no sugar. And frequently a little bit of flavour. Not the decaf stuff though. I also recorded an introduction to a new channel for me. I'm going to be doing a channel on the model railway, but and it has nothing to do with the name OSA, so I may mention it when I actually post a video to it, but I recorded a welcome video. I've now got to teach myself video editing because this stuff is just, I play the game, I split the stream up into 30-minute-ish chunks and throw them all out to YouTube. I don't edit anything, it's just more stream of consciousness type of thing. This one I am going to, I'm going to film bits and then create a video from the bits I film. And I've got to teach myself how to do that. So I've downloaded a video editor tool and we'll see how that works out. Okay, 10 and but it's just a sort of welcome to the channel, welcome to the basement, welcome to the railway. Not going to be inordinately frequent at this stage. It's just going to be when I get down there and do some stuff, there'll be an update posted, maybe sometime. I think the initial idea is a welcome. This is me. This is the room with the model railway in it, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail on what I've done so far. So the bench work, the roadbed, the electrics, etc., etc. And I'll probably do a short video on each one. I'm not looking at creating a 2-hour-long video explaining how I'm doing things. It'll be this. I've been working on it since January. I started out, we've lived in this house. This is now the 5th year we've been here. So we've been here for 4 years. And so I have, it's taken me 3.5 years to build the bench work, and part of that is it costs a lot to buy lumber. There was a lot, it got very expensive in 2020, plus Mrs. Osa's sick. I've had issues, so it's taken time to get everything assembled. But I got to December last year and all of the bench work was done, bolted together. And so New Year's, I kind of made a resolution. I want to spend about an hour in the basement after work every day. And for the most part, that's worked out. I mean, I've had back issues. Yeah, I can't crawl around on the floor and do electrics underneath a bench, so I'm not even going to try it tonight, type of thing. And then I set myself short-term goals. So January was get the track bed, the wood for the track bed laid. February was get some foam board, insulation board, and put that down, and caulk, and March lay the track around the station area. April, get a complete loop laid. May, get a second complete loop laid, so that I can run, 1st of June I want to be able to run a train in both directions. So that was kind of how things worked out. I think June was the electrics, and then get everything working. The electrics was complicated. Or it wasn't complicated, it was laborious, because I would have to wire up a section of track and then make sure it worked. So the simple way around that was to have a 9-volt battery and a coach with lights in it, and just touch the battery to the feeders to make sure that the lights came on. That worked out quite nicely, and obviously as I worked my way away from that, the track conducts electricity, so I don't have to move the coach, I just have to keep moving along and checking the wires. So and I had some issues with, some of the wires didn't dry solder joints, so I had to unsolder them and resolder them. But I had to lift some track. Actually, I had to lift a couple of pieces of track for the wiring, and then once I got the trains running, I had to lift a couple of pieces of track, because there were sections of track where every time I run past this bit, every piece of rolling stock comes off the track. So obviously that piece of track's not laid right. And then I did find that some of the longer wheelbase four-wheeled freight cars didn't like some of the corners. So that was easy, just take up the track, relay the corner so it's a slightly shallower, more even turn. And I've now got at least all of the vehicles that are running at the moment do not give me any issues. Now I do know there are some pieces of equipment that are still going to have issues, but they will be on a vehicle by vehicle basis, as opposed to everything fails here. I'm watching a YouTube channel where one guy is trying to do automation and getting all his trains to stop in the station so that all the passenger cars are in their length of the platform, and obviously he's got 2-car trains, 5-car trains, trains with locomotives, trains without locomotives, and he'll try and get it so the train stops in the station, run it round and bring it in there from the other direction. Oh, it doesn't stop within the station because conductivity, resistance between the wheels, that sort of thing. So he's been doing that for about a month. But there's a lot of trial and error, at least with running, to make sure everything's working properly. Once it's working properly, then you can sit and watch trains or do more work. I should do more work, but a lot of the time lately it's been sitting and watching trains go around. And I've kind of gone with, part of the layout, a lot of the layout is just a big, not quite scale mile loop. That you can set 2 trains running, one in each direction, and just sit down and watch the trains go by. But there will eventually be a freight yard at the main station, so you can have 2 trains running around while you sort the freight cars out. There'll be the ability to switch between trains. If I get bored with one train going round, I can switch to another one, but all of that is way down the line. And then there's scenery. I'm not sure there's going to be a lot of town, but one whole side of the layout is countryside, so there will be a lot of countryside. And probably sheep. And I'm considering a white horse carved into the hillside. If you know England, there are a couple of hillsides which, the ground is chalk or close to chalk cliffs, and so ancient Britons would carve horses or giant men into the hillside and then cover them with chalk so they could be seen for miles. It's a thing. I might do it, I might not do it, I don't know. But again, that's a ways off. Part of the problem is I've had to do it as an island in the middle of the basement instead of as round the walls. If you go around the walls, you can usually limit the depth to 2, 3, 4 feet, which means you can reach all of it fairly easily. As an island, I can't necessarily reach the middle very easily, not and do detailed stuff. Obviously for cleaning I can reach over, for putting stuff back on the track or picking stuff off the track so I can re-rail it somewhere closer. That's not a problem, but actually doing detailed scenery work 5 feet away from your head is not too easy. So part of the problem I have here is I'm going to need to not fill in the gaps in the bench work until I have done the scenery furthest away from the edge. So that's a thing, and I'm going to have to, it's that limitation is going to dictate what sequence I do things, so that I can always reach all the bits I need to reach. Okay, so how are we doing? That was 77%? No, that's more than 77%. We have gone through, that's 22% of the second tank plus 100% of the first. So half that. 90% of our fertilizer has been used up just doing the headland on this field. It's 2,500, I think, the tank capabilities here are. And it looks like the case has finished weeding the field, so I think what I need to do here, we'll get this done, we'll drive back to the yard when we run out, and I'll move the case over to, I think it's the sugar beet field is the next one. Sugar beet field won't take it long at all. After the sugar beet field, we're going to have to do oats and the second sorghum field. Oh, I forgot about that. I've got the GPS as auto shutdown or auto disengage cruise control at the end of a row, and I can mitigate that by just steering before I get to the end of the row. Why are you going so slowly? Oh. Where are you guys? It's 8 miles an hour the maximum speed of this sprayer. That could be, I guess. Okay, so if I steer that way before the end of the row, then it won't. No. It won't stop. So that, as I said, that's how I get around the do not disengage cruise control at the end of the row, is don't get to the end of the road before you start steering. However, it's a good thing to have running, because then if someone comes to the door or something happens, I can leave the tractor running and it will stop at the end of the row. Okay, we'll probably do right hand here. Also put in a fair few hours of what have I been playing lately? Railroader. Haven't played that in 3-4 months since I was streaming it. So I decided I was going to start a new game. Not going to stream it. It's just a lot of it is I have found with Railroader, you get the freight deliveries, you do the freight deliveries. I'm sort of using this session as we're empty. That's why we took off at a crazy rate of speed. What was I saying? I decided I would spend some time trying to learn how timetables work for passengers. So that's what I've been doing, and I've got an eastbound at 7, westbound at 10, eastbound at 1, westbound at 4 type of thing. It takes about an hour to travel from Bryson to Silver, and it takes me about 3 hours to deliver to all the industries along the line. So for the first hour, for the first trip, I'm kind of fitting in between the passenger run. But after that, I've then got 3 hours of passenger run. So all I'm doing is leaving it on automatic and watching YouTube videos while the train runs backwards and forwards. And done. And oh. And done. That's good. Okay, let's go find this guy. You fold, engine off, fold that up. So that field is done. Yay. So I'm guessing, well, yeah, I suppose sugar beets are a very slow growing crop. Fast-growing crops, the weeds tend to grow very, very quickly. So with sorghum and soybeans, they germinated with weeds at stage 2 growth. With sugar beets, we've already had they germinated last month, and I can drive on this with whatever tires I have here. and they're stage 2. So set that off. I might need to check the oats as well. But, sugar beets are off at opposite that sorghum field, so we'll get those done. Then we'll cross the bridge and deal with the rest of the sorghum and maybe the oats if I'm not going to kill them all off. But yeah, sorghum. Your window is basically the month after the crop germinated. You can get out there and do it. Otherwise, you're going to have to spray them if you want to deal with the weeds. Okay, I do believe this field here is the field what I am doing. So, carefully through there. To the other side of the tree and tell me about it. Okay. Turn that on, and my goodness, that we ran out so close to the end of the field. It's like a sliver of unfertilized land there. That's okay. Swing around, do this one. Of course, there's the many hours I spend playing Farm Sim on Saturday mornings. Okay, if I get this right, that should... Good, okay. Turn that off and swing down the end here. I'm going to be doing, I think, 2 more rows here after this one. But I've got a clear stretch all the way across the field here. I think once I hit the bit of the bulge there, if I'm close to the end of it, I'll then start at the south side of the field and just work my way across. With any luck, I'll end up at that end of the field and just be able to do that section down towards the road, and I'll end up right next to the road when I'm done. In theory. So, how are we doing? Case is working. And I'm working. And we're 30% of the way through, so how does that work? We've been running this field for about half hour. Started at 8:39. I think it took us an hour and a half to do all our fields, so I think we've been running this field for about half hour. Could be wrong, but this is going to be the fertilization episode, I guess. Oh, I know what I didn't check. As soon as we get to the end of this row, I will check it. Crop prices. I have not checked how much our produce is worth. Oh, I hit the end of the row. Okay, he's back on the row, so quick prices. May, wool. Wool is a good time to sell. That's a good value. Maximum value is 13.7. Current value is 13.299. And sell at the bale sell point. Okay, so we should sell the wool this month. I can do that with... Once we're done with the spraying, I can dismount the spraying attachments and go back to front loader operations. We'll grab that cart, put the wool on the back of it. So that's a good thing. And what's the next? Silage is currently good value, although we're past the best sell-by date. I don't want to sell my silage at this stage. I probably got way more than I need, but it is what it is. January, October, March. January, October, November, March. So, yeah, wool. What's the milk like? Milk is October, goat milk is October. So, not in any hurry to sell the milk. I might just take some of the goat milk down to the dairy anyway, because if there's room on the cart, I might as well. Okay, we are getting, oops, hit the end of the row again. This looks like very, very close to the end there. So we'll run down here and then we'll start doing full lengths of the field so I don't have to turn around quite so frequently. Oh, worker bee has completed their task. I don't have any worker bees. We had bees on Moss Valley, but bees don't produce much bee juice, honey. And we've got 5 animals now because we got the dog too. But we got chickens and the cows and sheep and goats and horses. That's 5.